Alright, so a couple days ago on Thursday, I went to my local movie theater and I ended up watching three movies. I watched Wakanda Forever, I watched Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, as well as Marvel Studios' Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Now, while admittedly I'm being a bit needlessly cheeky here, the movie really does feel like there's three separate movies going on of varying degrees of quality. So I guess kind of going from the top, Wakanda Forever, which is the first movie you end up watching because, the first scene, excuse me, I feel like the first scene of the movie sets the tone for what this part of the movie is trying to do, and I feel like it does it very well. It is a movie that is mourning and lamenting the loss of King T'Challa, as well as his actor Chadwick Boseman. And there's parts of the movie where it's very clear that they are mourning T'Challa. There are also parts where it's clear that they are mourning Chadwick. And let me give a couple examples. I can give an example from the first scene of the movie as well as the last scene of the movie. The movie starts with a big funeral procession. Well, actually, first, technically, it's Shuri in the lab trying to see if she can recreate the heart-shaped herbs so they can, T'Challa can eat it and the Black Panther can, help him and save him. She's unable to do so. And there's this long funeral procession. There's this really nice-looking coffin. I remember just this really sleek and beautiful. The whole thing is gorgeous to watch. And on the coffin, it's engraved, his Black Panther suit. And, this feels like a moment that is for T'Challa. Right after, it has the Marvel logo. In, the more recent movie, because in the older Marvel movies, it was, flipping through the comics. In the more recent movies, it's, Marvel, and then you'll have, Iron Man and, the A, or maybe, Captain America throwing his shield and, the VE. We have that kind of stuff. And if I'm remembering correctly, and maybe this is just something they've been doing in Phase 4, because I believe I said this in my last Car Talk video. I haven't been following Phase 4 a whole lot. But I think usually it'll be oh yeah, here's Cap, here's Iron Man, here's Thor, Hulk. They kind of try to show a lot of the major players when they're doing the opening credit thing. Here, it was just Black Panther. And if I remember correctly, it was all without his mask on. It was just Chadwick Boseman. And that felt like a moment that was not for the character, but for the actor. And then you fast forward to the end of the film, where the last scene, Shuri is sitting on a beach, a small little fire going, remembering her brother. And in all of these moments, he has the mask off. It's just Chadwick. And as this is going on, she's just crying. She doesn't say anything. It's just showing these moments between the two of them. And it's yeah, this is a moment that feels like it is for the actor. Cut to credits. The mid-credit scene is T'Challa's wife. I don't remember if they were married or if they were just a couple in the original Black Panther. I haven't seen it since it came out. But she comes up to Shuri with a small child, who I think was maybe 6, 7, maybe somewhere around there. And this is his son. They talk about how, we all agreed it was not right for him to live in Wakanda with all the pressures of the throne. At some point, yes, I will return, and I will return with him. But for now, he and I are going to continue living here because they're living in Haiti. And it's revealed that, his name, I don't remember what his name was. It was, Toussaint, or it was something close to that. He's but my Wakandan name is, I am Prince T'Challa. And that felt like a moment for the character. That his legacy lives on, even though he is dead, he's still not quite gone. I guess, to quote The Lion King Part 2, it's Part 2, it's just The Lion King 2, he lives in you. And it's that kind of thing. I mean, I guess it's also in the first Lion King, but I just remember the song as well from 2. Lion King also is a really weird comparison for this, because I feel like it's kind of apt, and not just because they both take place in Africa and they're both by Disney. The first third and the last third of The Lion King, there is this weight and this gravitas to a lot of the conversations and things that are happening. And then you have the middle of the movie, which is hey, this is still a kid's movie. We kind of gotta put some levity in here. Let's put in some fart jokes real quick to, calm everything down. And similarly, this is a movie where I feel like there's a lot of weight and gravitas when the Wakandans are talking to each other and when they're on the world stage, whether it is just to each other about what's going on or more in public. But then you also have the moments that are hit with the Marvel beam, and sometimes it is with the Wakandans, sometimes it's with other people, and I'm like, I don't know about this, but I guess we'll talk about that in a bit. But so, to me, the first movie is the mourning of the character and the actor, and whenever the movie is focused on that, and it's not just that, it's also just mourning in general and dealing with grief and how we react to it. Obviously I've already spoiled things in the movie, but one big spoiler, give you a couple seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the Queen dies. The Queen is murdered. And part of the movie after that point is Shuri dealing with that. It's the kind of the country as a whole. We just buried our king. A year later, we have to bury our queen as well. And Shuri's anger. And, she is able to recreate the herb. She eats it. And she goes to the ancestral plane. She does not see her father. She does not see her brother. She does not see her mother. She sees Killmonger. And neither of them are really expecting him to be there, and they have a conversation where he's like, hey, if I'm here, that means you're not trying to do this to be, the great protector of Wakanda. You're doing this because you want revenge. And you know what? That's fine by me. Just be honest with yourself. If that's what you want, that's what you want. Own it. And I'm not going to lie, that scene gave me chills. I really, really liked that scene. There's a scene with the Queen, Ramonda, I believe was her name, where it's the scene from the trailer. She's like, I am the queen of the most powerful country in the world. And that is a scene where her daughter goes missing. Now, we as the audience know where she is and that she's theoretically safe. The Queen does not know this. As she even says in the trailer, my whole family is gone. What do I have left to give that I have yet to do? And, that's not word for word. But I'm like, oh, this is so good. And, when the movie is doing this stuff, it is phenomenal. Wakanda Forever is such a good movie. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is when it is not about the grieving or the mourning. It is Black Panther 2. It is Wakanda on the world stage, political stuff about vibranium. There is a country under the water that's not Atlantis, because they don't call it that. They call it Talokan or some shit. But I think in the comics it is called Atlantis. So, yeah, I'm just going to call it that, so it's easier for me to remember. Atlantis is underwater. They have vibranium. They believe that the surface world is a problem. They're like, Wakanda, you guys seem cool. You also have vibranium. They're going to keep coming for it. They've already tried taking it. How about you and I team up? And what if we just start a war with the surface? Hear me out. Humans suck. I know y'all are humans, but you guys seem cool, but they suck. Let's just, wipe them out, take them out. If they're going to start shit eventually, let's take the war to them. And by the way, if you don't do it, we're going to go to war with you. We'll start with you, make an example. So, let's be friends. And I think that movie is pretty good. It's not great. I really like a lot of the kind of espionage ideas, how, a lot of the political stuff, because I tend to really like those kinds of aspects of stories. I like politics. I don't like real world politics, but I like fictional politics. That's to me, the best parts of Game of Thrones are when it is, dealing with these kind of negotiations, trying to get allies, and also knowing, man, we don't like these people, they don't like us. Boy, this is going to be a real hard negotiation, but we got to do what we can. I love all that kind of crap. The villain, Namor, I think he's all right. I love the idea. One of my favorite kinds of antagonists are a leader who genuinely loves their people and is loved in return. They don't need to rule by fear. They genuinely rule by love, and it is reciprocated, and these people are passionate about their ruler. there's a scene where they're because Namora's the one that kills the queen. Sorry if you skipped ahead to avoid a spoiler and you got to this. Whoops. But, they're kind of, the Wakandans are talking amongst themselves. And M'Baku, I think was his name. The really cool guy from the first movie. I love him. I think he's great. And he's like, I noticed his people don't call him general. They don't call him king. They call him, and I don't remember what the term was, but essentially they call him God. He is a god to his people. If we go to war with him and we kill him, you kill a general, there's going to be some kind of international incident, but you can get over it. You kill a king, depending on what the new regime is like, and depending on how much the people loved him or hated him, you might get some, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be blood, but hopefully you can get past it eventually. You kill their god, and this war will never stop until one side is gone. We cannot kill him. I mean, we can, we should not kill him. And I'm sure he's saying, do you think my mother's death is not worth that kind of eternal war? I 100% believe your mother is worth that. But that is not what she would want. It's insane to do something like that. And you need to understand this. When they're dealing with that kind of stuff, I really like that. This is interesting to me. Now, again, the whole, I hate humanity, so I'm going to start a war with them. I'm going to wipe them. I'm I've seen this a gajillion times. It's not the best, but again, I like that it is motivated not by greed, not by, just being a psychopath, but by a genuine love for his people and wanting to keep them safe. So I think that's good. It's not as good as the just dealing with grief and mourning. I think the movie I personally really wanted was almost kind of like a slice of life. This is just what Wakanda is like right now and how a lot of the people are dealing with this. And I mean, I'm not going to say that would have made a really riveting film because, it's a Marvel movie. People want to see shit happen. And I feel like we do still get that here. We definitely do. But even when there were here's fight scenes, shit's happening, I was kind of zoning out. I was yeah, this is fine. This is not badly done. I just am not as invested in this aspect of the film. The visuals, I think, are really good. The soundtrack is great. That was something I heard going in. And people were yeah, the soundtrack's really good. And it's fantastic. Then we get to the third movie, which is the Marvel movie. The MCU film, specifically. And it's bad. Because like I said, there's this weight and gravitas when these people are talking to each other. And I really feel that, and I get invested in that. It's one, the first part of the movie, I guess I don't want to say necessarily the first part, but the first movie, dealing with the grief in the morning, it's everywhere. The second part of the movie, the political stuff, it is there. Maybe not as pronounced, but it's there. Then there's these Marvel scenes. It's all right, well, we have to have this not that funny recurring joke about, I don't remember her name, but the lead warrior woman, and how, she thinks her makeup's really bad, and, she doesn't look that good right now, and she's no, you look fine. Man, her head's so ashy. It's no, I told you I didn't look good. No, but it's fine. Why are you laughing at this? This is hurting my feelings. Is this the same movie? I don't know. I'm not feeling this. Then the scenes with the CIA agents, which go nowhere, and they're not that funny or entertaining. Maybe other people found them very funny and entertaining. And you know what? If you did, I'm glad these scenes were here for you. I am glad you enjoyed that part of the movie. I personally did not. And it's not wow, these are the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It was just, this clashes so strongly with the really good parts that they just feel wrong to me. And if they were at least really funny, I'd be okay, I mean, this clashes in tone, I don't care for it as much, but those were some pretty funny lines, so I can't be that mad. It was just boy, I don't care about this. Like, this is a 2 hour and 40-minute film. And I will be honest, I honestly didn't feel the length. I kind of expected to, like, to a degree, so I was like, I do kind of want to go home because I got some stuff I need to do. But just watching the movie, I was like, no, this doesn't feel like 2.5 hours. But I can also see parts that could have been cut or shortened. And those are the Marvel scenes. So I don't really want to give it a ranking, like a letter grade or a number grade. But I feel like it is Wakanda Forever is a fantastic movie. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, not as good, but a movie I did enjoy. Marvel's Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I just didn't get into it that much. So, I mean, would I recommend it? I would certainly recommend it. I think it is a movie that is worth a watch because the great parts are that great. And the worst parts don't ruin the film by any means, but they're just kind of like, oh, yeah, I guess that has to be there. I don't like it, but yeah, I mean, I've seen worse. I've seen far worse. I watched Thor 2. I've seen way worse. Bro, I did not like that movie. I still haven't seen Thor 4, because like I said, I haven't really watched the Phase 4 movies. Oh, man. I know Clay and I are kind of thinking, like, spitballing what our next movie project is going to be. We've done all the Pixars. We did all the Pokemon movies. Some have come out since, but all the ones available at the time for both of those. All the mainline Disney movies. Jose and I did all the Ghibli movies, so, like, what's next? Probably either DreamWorks or the MCU. DreamWorks scares me because there's a lot of crap. I don't mean that in terms of quality. I just mean there's a lot of stuff. But then I'm also like, I have to watch the Boss Baby movies, and maybe they're fantastic. I don't know, but I'm like, I kind of worried about some of these. But then if I do all the MCU movies, like, that's also a lot of crap, and I have to watch Thor 2 again. I don't watch Thor 2. It's the most boring movie I've ever seen. Oh boy, but anyways, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Definitely go give it a shot. I feel like it's one of those movies, if you are interested in going to see it, if you watched that first trailer and thought, man, like, this is giving me goosebumps, it's giving me chills, I've got to see it, you absolutely should. If you watched it and you're like, I don't really know, I guess it'll be okay, sure, whatever, then you really don't need to see it. But I feel like there is something there for you. Because how do I want to say this? For me, there was definitely stuff that I got out of it. Even as someone who didn't super care for the first movie and who thinks Phase 4 is not that good. But because there's these gravitas moments, political moments, action moments, dumb comedy moments, there's, aside from like a solid romance, it kind of hits a little bit of everything. So I feel like regardless of what your interest is, unless you like only watch romance, there's probably something in this movie for you that may or may not be worth the price of admission. But for me, Wakanda Forever was worth the price of admission. So I think that's really all I have to say about this one. And now that I've done this, I can go back to playing Pokemon.